It started almost quietly, the kind of summer evening that Tokyo residents had come to expect, a few clouds gathering, a faint breeze stirring the bustling streets. But beneath that calm surface, the atmosphere was building towards something far more ominous, something the city hadn't seen before. At precisely 7 p.m., the heavens opened with a sudden, ferocious burst. In Tsunami Ward, the rain fell at a staggering rate, 120 millimeters in a single hour. Not far away in Meguro and Setagaya wards, the downpour wasn't far behind, flooding the streets with over 100 millimeters of relentless water. Yokohama joined the ranks, shattering local rainfall records with a deluge of its own. This wasn't just heavy rain, it was a flood of unprecedented scale, a cascade of water that transformed Tokyo's familiar urban landscape into a dangerous, unpredictable swamp. The Meguro River, a lifeline threading through Shinagawa and Meguro districts, swelled ominously, cresting beyond its warning line. Officials wasted no time, issuing alerts that spread quickly across the city's vast network. People looked up from their screens and streets, realizing this was no ordinary storm. In Shibuya Ward, the situation turned perilous. A vehicle, attempting to brave a flooded underpass, stalled and became trapped in the rising water. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, their urgent sirens slicing through the storm's roar as they fought to rescue those caught in the water's deadly grip. Around the city, chaos reigned. Crowds struggled to enter and exit JR stations as water pooled near entrances, blocking passage and delaying commuters. Train services between Tokyo and Odawara ground to a halt, leaving thousands stranded, their plans derailed by the unyielding storm. But Tokyo was not alone. Neighboring prefectures, Saitama, Kanagawa, Yamanashi, Gunma and Nagano, all faced their own battles against the rain's assault. Landslide and flood warnings were broadcasted, turning the entire Kanto region into a watchful, anxious expanse. This was more than just a rainstorm. It was nature's warning, a harsh, unignorable message of rising risk, changing climates, and cities pushed to their limits. As the rain continued to fall, the question lingered in the minds of all who watched. How long before the floodwaters claim more? How long before this deluge rewrites the future of Tokyo forever? As night deepened, the rain showed no mercy. Tokyo, a city famed for its resilience and order, was quickly descending into chaos. The relentless downpour overwhelmed drainage systems, turning streets into rushing waterways that swallowed everything in their path. In Tsunami and Meguro wards, the water didn't just accumulate, it surged, flooding intersections, stairwells and subway entrances. Commuters found themselves trapped, caught between the storm and the rising floodwaters. Some sought refuge on higher ground, while others were forced to wade through waist-deep water, their steps uncertain and perilous. Emergency calls flooded the Tokyo Fire Department. One urgent report came from Shibuya Ward, where a vehicle had stalled in a flooded underpass, its occupants stranded and at risk. Rescue teams battled the flood's fury, navigating torrents of water to reach those trapped, their efforts a desperate race against time. Public transportation faltered. The vital train line between Tokyo and Odawara in Kanagawa Prefecture was suspended, stranding thousands and adding to the swelling anxiety. Commuters crowded into stations, waiting for updates as the city's infrastructure struggled to keep pace with nature's wrath. Beyond Tokyo's borders, neighboring prefectures weren't spared. Saitama, Kanagawa, Yamanashi, Gunma and Nagano faced their own deluges, each issuing landslide and flood warnings as rain hammered the region. Cumulonimbus clouds roiled overhead, lightning flashing amid the storm, a stark reminder of the volatile power unleashed. The meteorological agency's forecasts painted a grim picture. Up to 150 millimeters of rain expected in the next 24 hours for Kanto, with intense localized downpours capable of sparking flash floods and landslides in vulnerable areas. Communities braced for impact. Emergency services mobilized, sandbags were distributed, and evacuation warnings echoed through neighborhoods. Yet despite these efforts, the relentless rain whispered of further destruction, of a city forced to confront an uncertain and watery future. The floodwaters were rising, and Tokyo's battle had only just begun. By the early hours, the relentless rain had turned Tokyo's vibrant streets into murky rivers. Neighborhoods like Setagaya and Meguro found themselves submerged under rising waters, homes partially flooded, streets impassable. The city's iconic hustle slowed to a crawl, replaced by an eerie quiet punctuated only by rushing currents and distant emergency sirens. At the heart of this watery chaos, desperate stories emerged. Commuters caught in flooded underpasses, families stranded in their homes, and countless others forced to navigate a world turned upside down by nature's sudden fury. The vehicle trapped in Shibuya's underpass became a symbol of the day's peril, a stark reminder of how quickly disaster can strike. Emergency crews worked tirelessly, sometimes risking their own lives to rescue those trapped. Boats and rescue teams plied the flooded streets, pulling out frightened residents and helping those cut off by the rising waters. Meanwhile, Tokyo's transport network lay crippled, with train suspensions and road closures leaving the city paralyzed. Outside the capital, the story was much the same. Nagano, Yamanashi, Gunma, and Saitama grappled with swelling rivers and landslides triggered by the record-breaking rain. Officials warned that the worst could still be ahead, as more heavy rain was forecast in the coming hours. This was no ordinary storm. It was an urgent wake-up call, underscoring how climate change is intensifying weather patterns, pushing cities like Tokyo into new realms of vulnerability. With rising sea levels and heavier downpours becoming the norm, how prepared can these urban giants be for the disasters looming on the horizon? As dawn broke over a drenched, battered Tokyo, the question hung heavy in the air: what comes next for a city submerged but not yet defeated?